We are going to learn how to create a realistic pineapple. We're going to use shapes and colors, but mostly we're going to use shadow to create form. This is what's going to create our image to look very three-dimensional. Take a close look at the pineapple. Do you see shapes? How about some colors? Look at the texture on the top of the pineapple. All right, let's get started making our own. We're going to start out by creating the background. So I'm creating a line across my page. This is going to separate the table where the pineapple will be sitting and the wall. I'm using watercolors and I'm choosing a cool color. So I'm using blue. Then I'm going to look on the color wheel and find one of its neighbors. Purple is a neighbor to blue on the color wheel. So I know that these two colors are going to blend nicely together. Notice I started from the top and worked my way down, and then from the bottom and worked my way up. And now I'm taking the water to kind of blend those two colors together. I don't want to blend too much or add too much water, or I'll put a hole in my paper. Now I'm choosing to use some warm colors. So I'm adding orange, coming down, and then I'll use another warm color starting at the table and working my way up. Again, I'm kind of looking at the color wheel. Red is right next door to orange, so I know that these two colors will blend nicely together. Once this is done, we're going to set it aside and work on our pineapple. I'm going to use a pencil for this portion. You're going to want to draw a light until you get it right. I'm going to draw kind of dark so that you can see it easily. So start out with an oval. On the top of your pineapple, you're going to draw these kind of two curves towards each other. And then a curve going out and another curve going out. Repeat those three shapes again, right on top. Now, two curves going out. You might have room to add a little extra. Now we're going to get started at creating the design inside our pineapple. So I'm going to get a little closer. I'm using my finger and going about 1 knuckle up. You might go 1.5 or 2 knuckles depending on the size of your hand. I drew a bunch of vertical lines and now I'm drawing these V's or A shapes on top of the vertical lines, kind of connecting them. It's creating a zigzag across. Now time for more vertical lines. At the points of each of the zigzags, you're going to draw a vertical line and then add another zigzag. This is creating a bunch of hexagons. This is kind of the shape that you would see on a pineapple. I'll do this until I fill up my entire oval. Now on the edge, I'm going to create some form. So I'm kind of drawing a curved line from line to line. You can see how that makes it look a little bit more three-dimensional. Now that we have all of our pencil drawn, we're going to use washable markers to outline all of the lines that we just created. I'm using brown, but go ahead and experiment with a different color. Your pineapple will look a little different than mine with a different color. I'm also going to use green for the green top of my pineapple, but you might choose to use a different color in this area as well. I'm not coloring in at all. I'm just drawing on top of the line. That's going to be important for the next step. Now we're going to use clean water and a brush to add on top of the markers. When we add water on top of washable markers, you're going to notice that the color starts to move. That is what we call bleeding. It's bleeding into the paper. We're then going to use some watercolors to add a little extra color. It's okay if any of these colors start to blend together. That's actually going to make it look more realistic in the long run. What I'm doing right there by putting a little water on top is activating my colors. That means that it's going to be able to be used in a nice dark pigment when I'm ready to use it. I'm going into my colors, mixing that yellow with the brown. It creates a very interesting texture. I'm also going to do this to the leaves. So I'll choose maybe some blues or some greens or maybe some yellows up there as well and fill in some of the spots inside the leaves. For our next portion, we're going to need both of our paintings to be dry, a scissors, charcoal, and glue. We're going to take the charcoal and start drawing the letter V inside all of our hexagons. Let me show you a little closer. You can see that I've added the V inside all of the hexagons. Now I'm going to use my finger, or you could use a paper towel, and blend this upwards. So you can see me gently pressing the charcoal across the page. Now I'm going to do the top portion of the pineapple. On the center, I'm drawing on both sides, up and down. On the side leaves, I'm just drawing on the top. This is going to show some nice shadow within the leaves at the top. Once again, I'm going to use my finger or paper towel, and I'm going to blend that charcoal. If it goes outside of the lines, I'm not worried about that because I'll be cutting this pineapple out in just a few moments. When I'm cutting out my pineapple, I'm using bubble cutting, which means I'm leaving some white behind and then going back and taking care of those small areas. Now I have my pineapple cut out and my background is dry. I'm ready to attach the pineapple to the background. But first I'm going to create a little shadow underneath my pineapple. I used my charcoal to make a little mark of where I'll be gluing it. And then I'm going off to one side. It can be the right side or the left side, and creating an oval. Again, I'm going to use a paper towel or my finger and blend this charcoal onto my page. Gluing is extremely important. We want to make sure that this pineapple is very securely adhered to the background. So I'm using white glue and I'm going around the entire edge of my pineapple. I'm going to set that glue aside and use my finger and smearing it way out to the very edge of my pineapple. Might seem kind of icky, but it's not a huge deal because what we'll do is wipe our finger off right in the center, and now it's all clean. Now, when I put my pineapple down, I'm going to try to place it on top of that shadow, and then I'll need some patience. Your hands will be resting on top of your pineapple to make sure that there's no floppies when you consider yourself completed. Take a look at this. I'm looking for floppies now, checking to make sure that none of the pineapple will come off. If I find a little part that comes off, I put a little glue on my finger and then make sure that I press it down again, just like that. And there you have it, a realistic pineapple.